Today we are going through lab number 8 on service enumeration. So for this lab, we are going to use the Nmap tool to continue to scan the vulnerable target servers for various service information. Okay, the apps they are running on the services and on the servers and their version numbers. Okay, in order to do that, we are going to run the client VM and also the server 2 VM, which is the Metasploit server. So before we start, let's try to find out the IP addresses of server 2. Okay, so let's run the command sudo u dash to convert to the root account. Okay, so now I'm under root user, so I can run the command net discover dash r 10.10.10.0/24. Then await. Okay, so I managed to capture one IP address. This IP address is the address for the server 2, which is currently connected on the same network as client. Okay, so with that, we can stop this scan. So we know the IP address for server 2 is 10.10.10.10. So now let's go on to the next part, which is to try to start the scan task 2. So the first thing we'll do is we'll run a version scan on the machine nmap -sv, V for version, and -p dash to all the ports on the server 10.10.10.10. And then I press enter and I wait for the result. So this will scan all the ports and specifically the version numbers of the services on the server to 10.10.10.10. It's important to know the version number because different software services have different versions, and also depending on their version numbers, some of them have vulnerabilities which the hacker or the penetration tester can actually exploit. So later we'll see, depending on the version number, we can actually look up for the vulnerabilities or exploits through the internet. I don't know how long is the scan going to be, so we can do another scan on another server. Where is this server running? Let me write another terminal to do the part 2. While I'm waiting for the answer for the part 1 to come out, I'll run another terminal to scan the other machine. So let me start another terminal. So my other terminal is here. So let me just try to increase the font size. So this is the second terminal, which I've just spawned. So for this one, yeah, I don't know why they scan this address. It's my IP address. My IP address is 10.10.5. Why is it running 10.10.8? I think they missed out one machine. They're supposed to switch on another server, but there are only 2 servers. So 10.10.8 is let me see. Server 2, server 3. server 3. I think it's server 3. Let me start server 3 and see. So I will start server 3. I think it's server 3. I can't remember. Right. So server 3 is a Windows server. It takes some time to start, so I'll just wait. So for the second part of the lab, this will require the server 3 at 10.10.10.8. Okay, the first one result is out. So let's take a look at the answer for the first part. So first part answer, they look out for server 10.10.10.10, which is this one. What is the service running under port 80? So let's look for port 80 is here. So the service that is running on port 80 is this thing over here, HTTP. Okay, application version of the HTTP web server on port 80. So for application version, let's take a look at the port 80. Version number is this one here at the back, Apache HTTP D228 Ubuntu edition. So let's try and copy this one. Okay, so that's for port 80. Next, we examine port 139, the service on port 139. So 139 is over here, your NetBIOS. So for service is NetBIOS SSS. So this is the service NetBIOS. Same thing, application version number for the NetBIOS on port 139. The version number is Samba SMBD 324. Look into this one. So this is the version number of the application on the port 139. Next, we examine the port number for the MySQL. So MySQL is a database service. So let's take a look for MySQL. Is it running? It's not running. MySQL is running. Is it running? Okay, it's not MySQL. In this case, I think the this one just take note. Instead of MySQL, this Meta's portable machine server 2 is running a Postgres SQL server. This is another variant of the MySQL SQL server, but this one is another version called Postgres SQL. So this is the port number 5432. Is it running SQL? SQL, I think is running, but there's no version number. So port number for MySQL is 3306. Number. What is the port number for SSH? So SSH is what is it? Over here, can you see? So this is your SSH open secure shell. So this is the port number 422. Application version number for port 22, which is your SSH is version number is OpenSSH 4.7 P1. Debian, if you want to see. Okay, so we can drag this here. So this will be the answer. Oops, I have to fresh. So I hope it didn't crash. Yeah, it is not responding from yeah, I think my computer died. So So I'll give it another few seconds to try and wake up. Yeah, doesn't look good. I think I need to terminate the VMware. Anyway, I'll just finish this part. So this is actually this one, Open SSH 4.7 T1. Okay. So this is this application version running on port 22. Unfortunately, my VMware crashed, so it's not responding. So let me try to reboot or restart the VMware. So let me restart the VMware. Apologies, I don't know why it crashed as well. So let me just try to restart. Okay, seems like it's able to restore. I hope. Yeah, it seems like it's able to restore. Good, luckily. So I don't need to restart everything again. So now my VMware is able to collect all this data for server 2, 10, 10, 10, 10. I'll go on to the next one, which is my server 3. Okay, so I think my server 3 is this address. Let me check. So don't remember. There's okay. We can either use this way to check the IP address. Obviously, if you can log in, you can check your IP address. Oh, this is 10, 10, 10. Okay. So it's 10, 10, 10, 8. 10, 10, 10, 8. Never mind. I'll find 10, 10, 10. Never mind. I'll just use server 3 for now. So assuming server 3 is able to run. So let me run the XAMPP to make the database running. Right. Okay, so after I start the XAMPP web server, my database and FTP should be available. So let me go back to the client here. So I'm going to scan the IP address for the second part. Okay, this part I can't find the server 10.10.10.8. I don't know which server is it. So it's not listed on the lab sheet. I don't know why. The lab sheet says server 1 or server 1. Sorry guys, server 1. Apologies. So it should be server 1. Should be server 1. So I should run server 1 instead. 10.10.10.8 server 1. The main Linux. So I'll wait for my server 1 to power on. Okay, my server 1 is up, so let me try and check the connectivity just in case using the netdiscover command. Netdiscover /HR. Yes, I can connect to my server 1 also. So this is server 2. This one is server 1. Okay, so let me just stop the scanning. So server 2 is this one, server 1 is this one. Okay, so let me go on to scan the part 2. So the next one I will run is this Nmap scan over here. Instead of -sv -p for 10, 10, 10, 10, I can 10, 10, 8. Then I wait for the result. So the same thing over here, I'm going to scan and look for the version numbers. There are some reasons why we want to look for version number, because different version number will have different vulnerabilities. And depending on the severity of the vulnerability, you can choose, or rather you can see which vulnerability is more exploitable. Okay, now the answer is back. So let's take a look at this result for 10.10.10.8 server 1. So first question they ask, what is the service that's running on port 21? So port 21 is your FTP service. Okay, so this is your FTP service. So answer is FTP. In fact, you can put the version number if you want. So this is the version number. FTP service. Next, we check the application version for the port 80, which is your HTTP service. So port 80 is this one. Port 80. Version number is Nginx 146. So this is the version number. Okay, next, application version for port 139. So 139 is NetBIOS again. So the version number is Samba SMBD 3x to 4x. Okay, application version number for 443. So let's try to check the version number for 443, which is your HTTP S. Supposed to be HTTPS. So for this case, the service is HTTP D247. And finally, the service that is running on the port 8080. So 8080 is this one here. Same thing, it's also running Apache HTTP D247. Okay, with this in mind, we are almost done with our service enumeration. So the term enumeration means we are looking for the version number and the information of the software services they are running on the various servers. Okay, so that is the lab number 8 for this chapter. Okay, before I end, maybe I just want to go on a bit more. Why we are looking for this version number? Why do we go through so much trouble look for this version number? There is a reason, because there are many reasons. So one of the more important reasons is to find the vulnerabilities that we have in our labs. Okay, so let's say we go over to this lab sheet over here. So we can go from the internet, and then we search for maybe under Google. So let's say we search for some information from Google based on the vulnerabilities that we have for the lab sheets. So let's say we want to look for the vulnerability for this Apache HTTP D226. Okay, so let's just try quickly this one. Okay, so let's try and search any vulnerability for this one. CVE, yes, there is at least one CVE for HTTP server 228. So the service, the CVE number is this one. So if you want, you can take a look at this CVE. Vulnerability is CVE 2023. Oh, it's quite recent. Okay, this year. So 2023, and it's a very serious vulnerability, as you can see. A very recent vulnerability, 2023. So it's just discovered this year. Published about 1 week ago. Today is 30th of October. Right? yeah, today is 30th October. Yeah, today is 30th October, and the CVE that is found the vulnerability was found 1 week ago. Okay, so it's a very recent vulnerability, and looking at the base score, this is a very jialat, very serious vulnerability. 9.1 is a critical vulnerability. Okay, so that's why looking at this, it means that this vulnerability is quite serious, and also looking at the date, important. Why? Because when we look at the date for the vulnerability, right, we know how fresh is this vulnerability, and it means when we see this date over here, it means that it is very new, and probably not many software sysadmin have actually fixed this problem yet. Okay, so that means if you are a hacker, whether it's a white hat or black hat or whatever hat, you have a good chance of exploiting this vulnerability because this vulnerability has just been discovered. Haven't fixed it. Because usually when the problem came out, the software programmer or the company will need some time to find a solution to remediate or fix the problem. So since this vulnerability is very fresh, only 1 week old, so it's likely that this problem has been there and haven't come up with a solution yet, haven't fixed it. So if you are a malicious hacker or if you want to do something bad, this will be one of the highest priority. And also for the incident responder, you may want to prioritize fix this problem because it's very new. Okay, so this is one way that you can find CVE that are very recent and useful for you to find. Of course, you can try and find another one. Let's say in this case for server 1, right? Server 1 is running Apache HTTP D247. So instead of this 248, maybe you can search for 247. Okay, for server 2. And for server 1, which is running HTTP server 247, these are the vulnerability. It has this vulnerability also, same problem, the same CV also. So that means this server also have the same problem as this server. Both the version of the HTTP server have the same problem. So this is one of the things that you can take note. Of course, you can look for other vulnerabilities. For example, FTPD 302. So this is 302. So let's look for this VSTPD, this one over here. And then depending on the vulnerability, yes, you have unspecified vulnerability in VSFTPD 302. Okay, so you can check out this vulnerability and then see whether this vulnerability is worth exploiting. So for this case, if you want to exploit this vulnerability in this server 1, 10.10.10.8, VSFTPD 302 have this vulnerability which is CVE 2015. So 2015 means this bug or this vulnerability was discovered like 8 years ago, 2015. And since this is 8-year-old vulnerability, most likely it is fixed already because it has been some time. Okay, so 2015 from now, 8 years ago, probably the problem no longer exists because it has already been patched. Okay, through software updates, through newer versions. So that's why it's less likely to be found, okay, to be exploited. And also, if you see this CVE score is only 5.0, so that's why with this in mind, so it means that you can hack this server quite easily because it is still using a software that has a bug since 2015. But of course, the newer servers will not be using this one. So that means you have maybe two chances for you to exploit this server. Maybe this one, which is a higher priority. This is 2023 version. So this is CVE 2023. Okay. So there's a problem from CVE 2023, whereas this one is based on the CVE 2015, which is an older vulnerability. Of course, older means is most likely patched or easier to exploit. Okay, so when as a penetration tester or as a hacker, you can decide which vulnerability to exploit based on the version number. That is why in this lab we are using the service enumeration to find the version numbers of all the most of the application services they are running on the servers.